Good morning and happy Thursday, first friends, boys and girls. How are y'all doing today? Hope everyone is up and having a great day so far. Penny and Clifford here to read another story today. And today we are going to read a Curious George book. Everyone knows that Miss Penny loves Clifford. And my second favorite animal is Curious George. So let's get to it. There we go. Clifford, you're right there. Okay. Boys and girls, are you ready? Curious George and the Firefighters. Curious George and the Firefighters. Okay. Let's see what this story is about. This is George. He was a good little monkey, and he was always very curious. Today, George and his friend, the man with the yellow hat, joined Mrs. Gray and her class on their field trip to the fire station. Go. There they are. They're walking into the fire station, and there's George and the man with the big yellow hat. Do y'all see it? There we go. George is very curious. The fire chief was waiting for them right next to a big red fire truck. "Welcome," he said, and he led everyone upstairs to begin their tour. There was a kitchen with a big table, and there were snacks for everyone. The fire chief told them all about being a firefighter. George tried hard to pay attention, but there were so many things for a little monkey to explore, like that big shiny silver pole in the corner. Oh no, where did that pole go? George was so curious. Here we are. Here's the fire chief talking to the boys and girls, teacher and the man with the big yellow hat. And here they are. They've gone upstairs. Do y'all see that big silver pole? And they had a snack. The fire chief gave them all big red shiny apples. Yum, boys and girls. Do you all like apples? I do. George asked, "Where did that big silver pole go?" "Why, it went back downstairs. There was the great big fire truck. There was a map of the city on the wall, and there was a whole wall full of coats and hats and big black boots." George had an idea. First, he stepped into a pair of boots. Now, he picked up a helmet. And finally, George put on a jacket. He was a firefighter. Oh, boys and girls, he's into being curious. There he goes. He's coming down the pole from upstairs, and he sees the fire truck and the equipment for the firefighters. And here he is trying on the hat and the boots and the jacket, when all of a sudden, ring, 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 the fire alarm went off, boys and girls. The firefighters all rushed in. "This is not my helmet," said one. "My boots are too big," said another. "Hurry, hurry," called the fire chief. A bright red light on the map of the city told him just where the fire was. There was no time to waste. One by one, the firefighters jumped into the fire truck, and so did George. There they are, boys and girls. They're all putting on their equipment. Do you see where the chief is pointing on the map? That's where the fire is. And they're all getting on the truck. And there comes George. The fire truck with all the firefighters sped out of the firehouse. And so did George. The siren screamed and the lights flashed. The truck turned right. Then it turned left. Woo, 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 went the whistle, and George held on tight, boys and girls. There we go. Fire truck's leaving the station, and it's going down the road, turning right, turning left, making lots of noise, alerting people that there's a fire. George held on tight. And just like that, the fire truck and all the firefighters pulled up to a pizza parlor on Main Street. Smoke was coming out of a window in the back, and a crowd was gathering in the street. "Thank goodness you're here," cried the cook. The firefighters rushed off the truck and started unwinding their hoses. They knew just what to do, and George was ready to help. He climbed up on the hose reel. There we go. Everybody doesn't know what to do. Goodness, there's a fire. Everybody's worried. Do you all see that smoke, boys and girls? That's where the fire is. It's in the pizza parlor kitchen. There we go. The firefighters are getting to work. They knew just what to do. George was ready to help. He climbed up on the hose reel. One of the firefighters saw George trying to help, and he took George by the arm and led him out of the way. "A fire is no place for a monkey," he said to George. "You stay here where it's safe." George felt terrible. George sat on the bench and looked around. Next to him on the ground was a bucket full of balls. George reached in and took one out. It fit in his hand just right, just like that apple he had had for snack earlier. There we go. The firefighter's leading George over to the bench to help him get out of the way because he doesn't want anything to happen. And you see George, he's looking at the bucket of balls. He puts one in his hand. Let's see, boys and girls. A little girl was watching George. He tried to give her the ball, but she was too frightened. George took another ball. And another. "Look," a boy said, "that monkey is juggling." The boy took a ball from the cage and tossed it to George, but it went too high. George climbed up onto the fire truck to get it. Hey, George tries to hand the little girl a ball, but she's very scared, boys and girls. That fire is very scary. So there George is. He's juggling. Someone throws him a ball. Oh, and he goes and he gets it from up on top of the fire truck. Now George had 4 balls to juggle. He threw the balls higher and higher. He juggled with his hands. He juggled with his feet. He could do all kinds of tricks, boys and girls. The boy threw another ball to George. George threw a ball back to the boy. The little girl reached down and picked up a ball too. Soon all of the children were throwing and catching balls back and forth. Do y'all see George juggling, boys and girls? Oh, everybody, all the kids are watching. They think it's great. And look, they're all playing with the balls. Oh, they're having so much fun. The fire chief came to tell everyone that the fire was out. Just then the little girl laughed and said, "Look, Mommy, a fire monkey." "Hey," called the fire chief, "what are you doing up there?" "What a wonderful idea," the little girl's mother said to the fire chief, "bringing this brave little monkey to help children when they're frightened." "Oh," the fire chief said, "well, thank you." See, that's what Curious George was able to do, boys and girls. He was able to distract the children and keep everybody playing so they wouldn't be afraid of the fire. That was a really good thing to do. Before long, the fire truck was back at the firehouse, where a familiar voice called, "George!" It was the man with the yellow hat. "This little monkey had quite an afternoon," said one of the firefighters. "Is everything all right?" asked Mrs. Gray, the teacher. "Yes, it was just a small fire," said the fire chief, "and George was a big help." Now the field trip was coming to an end, but there was one more treat in store. Here they're all coming back to the fire station, giving George back to his owner, the man with the big yellow hat. Oh, and all the children on the field trip have one more treat in store, boys and girls. I wonder what it is. all the children got to ride around the neighborhood on the shiny red fire truck. And they each got their very own fire helmet, even George. And it was just the right size for a brave little monkey. Oh, boys and girls, I just love that. Curious George is always having so much fun, isn't he? Oh, boys and girls, I love this story, and I hope that all of you have a great rest of the day. Please know that Miss Penny loves all of you very much, and I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. So for now, Clifford and Penny say bye-bye.